Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ride Mechanic channel. How the heck are you doing today? On today's video, I wanted to review a little bit of a mishap that the Scenic Railway had, so let's get into that.
Now get ready, here we go.
On today's video, we're looking at the Dreamland Amusement Park Margate roller coaster. Now this is it's a Scenic Railway, so this is a very old roller coaster. Built back in 1920, and it still operates today. It's one of the earliest style rides out there. It uses standard rails, doesn't have really upstops and all that other stuff. It uses regular train rails. It uses a regular train bogie underneath the carriage. The whole thing is made out of wood. Everything's wood on there. So there was a mishap recently, and I wanted to talk about it. So let's get right into this video. As a bonus for this video, I finally figured out how to get my mouse cursor to show up on the screen, so hopefully this will make things a little bit easier. The video comes to us from Coasters'n Cocktails. So if you haven't already, go to Coasters'n Cocktails, subscribe, and take a look at their video content over there because they got some interesting stuff coming out. I'm curious to see where they're going because they have a lot of videos already. So let's take a look at this. It's cable-driven lift hill. All seemed normal until there was something on the track. Right there. Oh yeah, look at that. This made the train skid into the emergency beams. Oh man. Yeah, we're gonna need a bunch of wood and some wood screws. Like a lot of wood screws. Bring a lot of wood screws. Boy, this looks like an absolute mess. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. The side beams are torn up. Oh. Didn't even know something was off. Side beams are designed to keep the car on the track. In these situations, smaller planks, however, are meant to carry techs working on the track. Yeah. Things look way worse than they are. Okay. And now people start realizing what's going on. It's like, oh yeah. So let's stop it here. Yeah, going off of what they were saying on the video, the side beams, which are these rails that go up along the sides here, those are meant to keep the car kind of in the track area. Remember, this doesn't really have guide wheels to it. They have guide hats, which is just like a flange on the outside of the wheel. So they're meant to keep it in there, but alongside of it on both sides, what there is a walkway on the outside. If you look right around in this area here, you can see that there is a walkway for workers to go alongside the track. But because there's not much space, and this is very common in older wooden roller coasters especially, they have also continued the planks on the inside. That way the workers can look at the rails on both sides and keep all that stuff functioning properly. So these boards on a coaster are typically called walk boards. The walk boards are a lot of times placed into the track to gain access to center parts of the track. Most modern roller coasters, you see them running linearly alongside. That's because they don't really need to do anything there, but the boards actually fill a hole. So between the vents on the track, there's a giant hole there, and OSHA says, hey, workers can fall in the hole. So they have to guard against that. So what they do is they put walk boards down the track to break the hole up into smaller holes, which OSHA allows on those things. A lot of manufacturers do this. So wow, that's really amazing. So let's go back and see if we could see the what it actually is here. Okay, so here we go. There it is, right there. Wow, look at that. Can I zoom in? can't zoom in. Look at that. That is a chunk of wood, and it's sitting right up against that right-hand rail. That is going to catch the truck assembly. That truck assembly is going to be very low to that track. As you can see, the skid plate's up there. So it's going to be within, I don't know, 30 millimeters, 40 millimeters of the track, of these bottom walk rails down here. So yeah, that guy is sticking up above that. So that's going to hit that. And then I'm guessing that's going to get stuck underneath the front of the train. Walk boards, especially on older rides, they're quite thin most of the time. They're only like 3/4 inch wood, which isn't much. And then you have something that's been sitting out in the sunlight and it's already faded and weather beaten. So that wood's already going to be more brittle than a lot of other places. It's going to come apart quickly. So I think what happened is that it got underneath that front truck assembly and basically broke a board. And then once that first board broke, it probably twisted, and then the thing just turned into a giant plow and pushed it all the way up against there. That covers the center. Let's see here. Let's see. Why would the sides get torn up like that? I know it's not the coach is not that close to the side. But if we look up there, let's see, if we go right back to here. What I do see is that the whole truck assembly is riding right inside these guide boards, these boards that basically keep the coach from going out of it. And then those walk boards on the outside, if you see, they're not at the same level as the walk boards in the middle. So you have the middle boards here, and then the outer boards are up a little bit with that side rail against it. So I'm guessing, I wonder if we can see it. Yeah, so I'm guessing, basically that as it started to plow into that center wood, it tried pushing the coach to the left. It tried scooting the thing over to the left, but it couldn't because it hit those sideboards on there. So the sideboards were pushed out further than they needed to be, which basically destroyed all the wood on the outside of it too, because those boards were probably towed into that. They were probably nailing onto the side of that wood. So it probably pushed that guide board over to the side, which broke all the wood on the outside of that. And just the whole thing came apart. But as you could see in the video, the actual rails here where the train is laying on, the rails are in good condition and they've got supports underneath there. Yeah. So, like the video is saying, it looks way worse than it actually is. You got a train valleyed, that's no fun, and you have a bunch of cosmetic wood essentially torn up. You could see this piece right here that's on there. This is called the header. The header, this is on top of the bent. The header on the bent is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The other header up there is fine, like that wood didn't even get tore up in that area. So this is, although it looks really, really bad, this is cosmetic damage. I mean, I'm sure it probably messed up some cosmetics on the coach itself that goes around. I know those things are made out of all wood. And the ride's very old in general, so I'm sure it did some stuff. I wonder if the brakeman saw that. This is a much older ride, so it actually has in the center, it's got a brakeman that would sit there and activate the brake when the train's going too fast. But I wonder if they saw that at all and tried slowing down, because the track looks really clean and immaculate up until that point. Let's see, I wonder, can we go find... Now, this video here is from Theme Park Worldwide. Scenic Railway, 4K on-ride POV, Dreamland, Margate. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to see is right here. You see all this on the side? It's kind of hard with the lighting and the camera. These are all little blocks of wood meant to space everything out. So what happens is that these guys have like nails basically holding the steel rail down to the headers underneath, and that's the main support. But in these areas where the coach turns a lot, they have other little pieces of wood stuck between the guide rail, the guide wood, and the actual steel rail, and those help take some of that when the coach tries to make that rail push out. That little chunk of wood pulls it back in there. Yeah, you can see them all along here. I don't want to... How's the lift go? Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a cable-driven lift hill. So it goes up right there, and then basically the catches underneath there grab a hold of that. And they got anti-rollbacks on the side. Incredible piece of machinery for being built in the 1920s. Absolutely amazing. Look at that. So let's see what we could find here. So you got more turning, and there's more of these guide blocks along here. More of these guide blocks. You see them on the side there? Have to forward in the video a bit. Okay, let's see. We're coming around this turn here. See all these guide blocks? See how some of them are kind of crooked and some of them are brand new? That means they've been replaced. I mean, obviously the roller coaster was built in the 1920s. Obviously they're going to be replaced. But the question becomes, like, what happened to the old ones? Were they just, like myself, walking along saying, you know, hey, that one's loose, we need to pull it out real quick and cut a new piece, put it in there, nail it down, and we move along? Or were these some of the blocks along the side of this thing? Did these migrate? Did somehow one of these hitch a ride on the train? So this is the part of the ride now where the other video starts. Very curious to see here. Here's where the other video picks up. This is interesting right here. Okay, you see on the sides here, they've got these two extra boards added in. They kind of look like boards. They might be steel. I'm not sure, honestly, but they kind of look like boards. I wonder, they kind of look like they've also, I mean, if it's wood, they've also been spliced together. I'm wondering if one of those came loose and basically as a train came by, it took an edge of that wood and knocked it off. My first thought was maybe some of those guide little pieces that hold the curved track straight. My first thought was one of those somehow migrated into this area. But that would have been a long ways. Something would have had to have been like holding it or had been kicked up inside the train. Not impossible, but hard. But if you loosened up one of these longer boards and then impacted it and knocked a chunk of wood loose, that makes way more sense. Just simply something got loosened up and then basically broken and it was laying inside the track. Shows you how tight the tolerance is in that area. So let's watch this again now. We're going up here, the cable's pulling it up. This will be the second lift on the ride. Now the question is, can we see Can I go in here? Playback speed. Let's try this. Whoa, like the Matrix. Whoa. All right, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for damage. Can we see damage anywhere? It might change with the camera view, but you see how this is a little brighter right here? This is nice and dull, and this is bright right there. I wonder if that's something. I think that's it. I think that's it. That kind of right there. Can I zoom at all on this? Mini player, theater mode, airplay, full screen. Okay. Yep, I think that's what that is. That piece that's up there, I think came from this area right down here. That looks like just one of the rails, which I thought were steel. They look like steel. Maybe there's something else, but that's a bright and shiny area right there. Does it come up anywhere else? You know, here's another chunk right here off to the right-hand side. Like right here in this area, there is another piece that's cut at a 45. I mean, sometimes that's just an entry to a board. You hardly ever cut them flat. You kind of always angle them towards which direction the train is going, just in case. But that piece might have been filling in this area right here for some reason. It could have also been off to the side. Either way, probably something in this area right here broke. And the train, it came loose, kind of started moving out. The train, the last time by, the train just barely clipped it. And on a big train like that, with a bunch of people screaming, moving at a good pace, you're not going to feel it or see it. It would have just been in the background, and probably no one would have noticed it at all. And then it's just laying there on the track, waiting for the next train to come around, which was Coasters'n Cocktails. And then oof. And then all that damage. Oof. Well, that had him working for the rest of the day, I'm sure. Ugh, that's sad. But the good news is, like I was saying, there's no real damage to the actual ride itself. Maybe just a bunch of cosmetic and a bunch of wood. It probably took a couple of guys the majority of the rest of the day and maybe into the next day to make the repairs, clean it up, maybe even repair some spots on the train and get it back up and running. Anyways, that was the Dreamland-Margate Scenic Railway incident. 4K POV. Again, go over to Coasters'n Cocktails, check out the original video. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. And give it a look-see so you can judge for yourself. See if you can figure out where that piece of wood came from. Let me know. Let me know if you figure it out. I think it was right around that area, within probably, probably like 20 or 30 feet. It's in the UK, sorry. 10 to 15 meters. Somewhere in that area. Somewhere in that area, chunk of wood came out and got left on the track. All right. I think that's about enough for this video. I just wanted to go over it real quick. Thought some people would be interested to see it. If you want to, go ahead and like, subscribe, do all that stuff downstairs. It does help me out. If you want to contact me, go ahead and just leave a comment down below. I can see most of them. Or you can email me at ryantheridermechanic@yahoo.com. And I'm not sure if this ride has it, but you need to stay off the air gates. Bye.